Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's June the 29th, and I'm David, and today we're going to take a look at 1 Kings chapter 22 and 2 Chronicles chapter 18. These two chapters recount the same event. It's a story about kings, prophets, war, and being pulled around by popular opinion. Even though this happened thousands of years ago, the lessons are still vital for us today. So let's set the scene. We have two kings, Ahab of Israel, known for his wickedness and his wife Jezebel's influence, and King Jehoshaphat of Judah, who's generally walked with the Lord and thought to be a good king, although he had his questionable moments. They're at a crossroads. Ahab wants to reclaim Ramoth-Gilead from the Arameans, and he's looking for an alliance with Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat, being a little more discerning of the two, suggests that they first inquire of the Lord. And this is where things get interesting. Ahab gathers 400 prophets, his prophets, and what do they all say? Go up to Ramoth-Gilead. The Lord will deliver into your hands, O king. Cheers, applauses, everyone's happy. It's the answer Ahab wanted to hear. Now think about that for a second. 400 people all saying the same thing and affirming what the king desired outcome is. They obviously never played the telephone game. Doesn't that sound a little too convenient to you? In our own lives, how often do we seek out voices that will simply just tell us what we want to hear? We surround ourselves with yes people, people that validate our preconceived notions or even those notions that might be leading us down the wrong path. It feels good to be affirmed, but sometimes the truth hurts, and the truth is what we need the most. Jehoshaphat, to his credit, feels something's a bit off, and he asks, is there still not a prophet of the Lord that we can inquire of here? After all, Ahab has gone after Baal and doesn't seek the Lord's counsel. Jehoshaphat recognizes that these 400 echoing voices don't necessarily equate to divine truth. Enter Micaiah. Now Ahab hates Micaiah because he never prophesies anything good for him, only bad news and pronouncements of judgment from God. When Micaiah is brought before them, he initially is pressured to conform with the other messages that the prophets have been saying, but he scarcely agrees to do that, and he won't say what they want to hear. Pressed by Ahab, he finally speaks the truth to him. And what is that truth? Well, Micaiah reveals a chilling vision. He saw Israel scattered on the mountains like sheep without a shepherd. He prophesied Ahab's death. He even describes a deceitful spirit that was sent by God to entice these 400 prophets to speak ill to Ahab. This is a stark contrast to the comforting, affirming words that these 400 men had to say. Micaiah's message was unpopular, and it was offensive to Ahab, and it had a personal cost. Micaiah was struck by one of Ahab's priests, who asked, how did this deceiving spirit jump from me into your mouth? And then he ridiculed him, and he was eventually thrown into prison. True prophets, true discernment, and true wisdom often come with an uncomfortable edge to them. They challenge our assumptions and expose our blind spots, and sometimes they tell us exactly what we don't want to hear. Are we willing to listen to the Micaiahs in our lives? The voices that, though perhaps unpopular or challenging, speak truth from God to us? Or do we silence them because their message isn't what we desire? Despite Micaiah's clear warning, Ahab decides to go to war. Ever the cunning king, he tries to outsmart the prophecy. He says to Jehoshaphat, hey, I'll disguise myself and go into battle, but you wear all your robes and stuff. He thinks he can cheat destiny. Meanwhile, Jehoshaphat, though he clearly heard Micaiah's warning, still goes along with Ahab's plan. He had to have known this would have made him a prime target in the upcoming battle. How is that a good idea? However, we need to keep in mind that this was God's plan and how events would play out, even though Ahab thought he was being clever. This is a critical point for us. Knowing the truth isn't enough. We have to act on it. Jehoshaphat, despite his earlier discernment, aligns himself with Ahab's foolish decision. He almost pays the ultimate price for it too, being mistaken for Ahab in the battle. But at the last minute, his pursuers realize that he's not Ahab, and they turn back. And what happens to Ahab, despite his disguise, despite his efforts to avoid his fate? A certain man drew his bow at random and struck the king of Israel between the joints in his armor. Seemingly a random arrow, but divinely directed. Ahab bleeds out in his chariot, as Micaiah prophesied. This teaches us the powerful lesson of God's sovereignty. You can't outsmart God. You cannot escape his plans or his judgment, especially when you deliberately disregard his warnings. And for us, it's a reminder that we shouldn't compromise clear biblical truth, nor should those who blatantly defy God. It could lead to painful consequences, even those who generally walk with him. I think what really stood out for me was be careful of the kind of people you surround yourself with, especially those that only want to tell you what you want to hear. Look for those people that will tell you the truth, even though it might hurt sometimes. That reminds me of one of the best bosses I ever had. He used to compliment me on a job well done, but what I remember most was when he corrected me for something. It made me a better employee and eventually a better supervisor. He was like my Micaiah, and he cared enough to tell me what would truly help me and improve me, and not just tickle my ego. What about you? What did you learn from today's reading? Others are watching this video, and they're eager to know your thoughts, so leave a comment down below. Remember, share this channel with someone you might know. It just might be the encouragement they need to further their commitment to reading the Word daily. So until next time, friends, we'll see ya.